There are concerns in some quarters that the future of the Citizenship by Investment Program, CBI, in the Caribbean is under threat, with the possibility of the European Union issuing an ultimatum. The European Parliament basically approved a report recently that said the European Union should end so-called golden passports, which allow rich people to obtain EU citizenship in exchange for investment. There are countries within the European Union that have citizenship by investment programs, such as Cyprus, Malta, and Bulgaria. However, should the European Union approve this proposal by the European Parliament, it would impact Caribbean CBI programs that basically enjoy visa-free status to European countries known as Schengen states, which is one of the selling points of the program. The report approved by the European Parliament calls for the EU to ban the sale of citizenship by investment schemes and to regulate residencies by investment schemes. Last Wednesday, a vote was taken by the European Parliament to ask the European Commission to formulate a strategy asking countries that offer CBI programs to phase them out or face visa restrictions. The European Commission is responsible for planning, preparing, and proposing new European legislation. This will then be proposed to the EU, which will eventually make a decision whether or not to pass or enact this legislation. Prime Minister of Antigua and Barbuda, Gaston Brown, on a radio interview on the weekend, said the development was concerning because of the economic impact it will have on Antigua and Barbuda and other members of the Eastern Caribbean Currency Union, the ECCU.
Now, if these countries are successful in undermining our CIP program, then I have to tell you it's going to create significant problems for the OECS currency union countries. In the case of Antigua and Barbuda, about 10% of our revenue, or maybe if I'm exaggerating, no more than probably 12-15% comes from CIP. But in some countries within the sub-region, the CIP contributes up to 50% of the annual revenue. So you can imagine the impact on those countries. It would be a very difficult proposition. In fact, the U.S., as you know now, they have two congressmen who have decided now to go further and to pass legislation. And one of the provisions is to work in lockstep with the European Union to get them to discontinue the Schengen visa-free access into Europe.
President of the wealth management firm Apex Capital Partners, Nuri Katz, told Observer Radio in Antigua and Barbuda that while the decision is not yet official and may take a while, Caribbean countries must take it seriously.
I certainly think that the Caribbean countries should worry about it and should be formulating a strategy to engage Europe and show Europe a number of things, including the importance of the CIP to the various countries, and as well, which is what the European Union is mostly worried about, is how rigorous the due diligence is being done on all candidates who receive citizenship. I've always said, and I believe I said it in the Observer as well before, that the due diligence that Antigua and Dominica and St. Kitts and the other islands do is the best due diligence known to man. And I think that should be conveyed by governments and other stakeholders.
Apex Capital Partners work with clients who are seeking citizenship in the Caribbean through its offices in St. Kitts and Nevis, Antigua and Barbuda, and Dominica, as well as European countries. Meanwhile, there are reports that 3 congressmen in the U.S. are also pushing for similar legislation to be ventilated in the U.S. Congress. Antigua and Barbuda diplomat Sir Ronald Saunders is pushing for representation on the issue, as he disclosed in this ABS TV interview last week.
In this act, which is now before 2 congressional committees, one the House Judiciary Committee and the other the House Committee on Foreign Relations. In this act, what these 3 congressmen are alleging is that these citizenship by investment programs are tools by which citizenship is given to crooks, criminals, and various categories of evil people, including, they say, Russian oligarchs who are able to open businesses and private bank accounts all over the world. It is a bill that we could not see appear before the Congress without making some representation about the invalidity and illegitimacy of its arguments. So I wrote today to the 3 congressmen who introduced this bill, but more than to them, I wrote to every single member of the 2 committees that will be considering this legislation, urging them to reject it on the basis of solid argument and research.
Efforts to get a comment from the St. Kitts and Nevis officials on this new development up to news time were unsuccessful. We will continue to monitor this story as it develops. I'm Andre Huey, reporting for SKN Newsline.